everybody, CW here. Let's do a quick video here. 454 Casull. It's my latest flavor. I mentioned in the live chat the other night. If you're not watching our live chats, it's Friday night on the Georgia Shooting Connection at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We get together with a group of good guys and we talk about all kinds of different things firearm related. From casting to reloading to calibers to rifles to pistols to shotguns to history of, and we like to go and listen to what you have to say and have topics based on your questions and comments. So stop by and have a talk with us. I mentioned in there that I have a new revolver on order. It's not a new production or a new release. It's actually something that's almost 10 years old. It is a Lipsy's special, Lipsy's exclusive, Bisley Super Blackhawk in 454 Casull. It's not something that's just a rebore, rechamber. It's a totally, ground up, changed revolver. It's got a heavier barrel, different barrel steel, different cylinder steel, 5-round cylinder, larger captured base pin. What else? It's got longer ejector. So the look of it is a 5.5. It looks like a 5.5 inch gun, but it's 6.5 inches long. Very nice grips that they put on them. Regular Bisley style grips. It's a Bisley frame, and it's made and built to handle the power of the 454. So what I've bought myself in leading up to it is this NOE NOE mold for this bullet. You see loaded here. This is a dummy. This is the one I opened the video up with, a piece of Starline brass. And it has 2 crimp grooves, so you can crimp it longer and shorter based on the length of your cylinder or your feeding. Now, I have a Rossi 454, and I got a couple videos on here with that. You can look back and see them. So we'll be shooting this bullet in that as well, as long as it'll feed, and I think it will. I think I tried some big meat plats, but I don't think it'll work this long. I think I have to crimp it in the first crimp groove for the lever. I don't think this will go through the action. Levers can be really, really, really picky with overall lengths. So 454 Casull, I think, is 1.770. Don't quote me, but I believe that's what it is. And something else I picked up, if you watched my short from a little while ago, I've talked about these a couple times to you, mentioning them. And, a lot of us reloaders who've been around for a while have a lot of manuals, and we don't have to buy a new manual when we get a new caliber because we've got, buku or existing manuals from multiple different manufacturers to cover any data that we need. But this is really handy, and it's pretty inexpensive for what it is. I want to say it's less than 10 beans. A lot of different places carry it. It's no new data. There's no new data, no exclusive data in here, no improved data or nothing. What they do is, just there, it's a complete reloading manual for the caliber. So they take data from these different manufacturers. So there's Accurate Arms, Alliant, Barnes, Blount, Hodgdon, Hornady, Nosler, RCBS, Sierra, Spear, and Vidovoi. Their data that these companies have produced and put it all into one manual for you. So you don't have to have 15 manuals open on your bench. You don't have to go searching through the pages to find the data that you're looking for. This is all the data in one place. So it's really, really handy. So here's Hornady, and they tell you the firearm that it was tested in, so you know what you're looking at. The particulars for the firearm: 1 in 24 twist, 7.5 inch barrel. The cases they used were Hornady. Of course, it's Hornady. The primers used, the bullet diameter used, cartridge overall length. They stopped at 1765, so 5 thousandths under max OAL. And then the case lengths. And they give you a little information here on the background, just like right out of the manual. Same exact thing that's in the manual. And then here's the data Now, a lot of these are going to be exclusive for what they offer for projectiles. Over here is Nosler. A lot of the same information will be here because it's the same background. You know, there's not a lot of history to quote from on the Casull. Released all those dates. And then Nosler bullets. So they're using a 260 grain and a 300 grain from Nosler, but they may have different powders. So it'll give you a choice of powders. Now, there's no lead yet, but I believe there will be some lead in here, and I'm hoping, because we got a 350 grain cast lead bullet that we want to be shooting. Well, there's Sierra's data, and they got a 240 and a 300. And then we got an advertisement from Spear. And then we got some Spear. So Spear's got a little more information. I don't know if they're going to tell us anything different, but they also used the Freedom Arms. They also used 1765. And they've got a 260 and a 250 gold dot and regular jacket hollow point. And here's a cast bullet. Here's our first cast bullet from Spear. And it's the RCBS 270. This is a really good bullet. We have this bullet. And data. And what they got. No pressures, but velocities and data. And then we go over here and we've got a gold dot Casull bullet, specific Casull bullet, and 300 grains. And Accurate Powders has a good write-up on the Casull. And Accurate is a little bit different. Accurate is going to list a lot of different stuff. I like Accurate's data. Their manual is a little bit old. They don't do them every year, but they're good. It's a good one to pick up. And they've got a showing here for True Blue, number 7, number 9, again, Accurate Powders, 4100 Enforcer, 5744, and 1680. And if we look at their bullets that they're offering, they don't make bullets. So just like Lyman, this is another really good one to recommend because it'll give you data from a lot of different bullet manufacturers. You buy a Sierra manual, you're only going to get Sierra. You buy a Hornady, you're only going to get Hornady. You buy a Nosler, you're only going to get Nosler. You buy a company, data from a company that doesn't make bullets or projectiles, like Lyman and Accurate here, you're going to get data from all the different popular ones. So with Enforcer, because I've used Enforcer before, we've got a 395 grain lead bullet, a 370 grain lead bullet, 335 grain lead bullet. Wide lead nosed gas check bullet. And they've got starting load with velocity and maximum load with velocity and pressures. So they're up solid 50,000, high 48, high 40s. And then the 240 is kept pretty light for whatever reason. Probably because it's a fragile bullet and it won't handle the higher velocities. But these lead ones are pushed right up. Here's a 53,000 PSI, 335 grain lead bullet going 1,530 feet per second. Here's a 395. That's almost 400 grains going 1,325. Here's a 370, which this is data we could use for our 350, is going at 1,400. And the overall length is 1,770, like I said. So that's really important when you're extrapolating, because the amount of bullet seat determines the amount of case capacity. And if you have less case capacity because your bullet seated deeper, your pressures are going to be higher with a given load. So if you can seat your bullet out farther to gain a little powder capacity inside, your pressures are going to go down with the same given amount of powder. So that's the old thing that all the Magnum pistol guys did, is they seat the bullets out as far as they can for their cylinder, because a revolver is different than a rifle. The chambers are different. They're cut differently. So you can generally get, and you don't have feeding, you don't have feeding to worry about. So you can generally get a longer bullet in a revolver, and that's going to allow you to get a little more powder and keep your pressures down, or get a little heavier bullet going faster than you can in repeater actions. So this is going to be invaluable information for us. And here's here's this bullet. I've got a video previously on this bullet. If I don't know where this video is going to come out, so if you haven't seen the video and you don't find it in my lineup, it will be coming shortly. But this is the bullet number from NOE, and that's what the bullet looks like. One big fat grease groove, 2 crimp grooves, and a gas check. And I have to weigh it, but it's supposed to be 350 grains. So we're 10 minutes in. I didn't really want to go through this as much as I did, but I wanted you to know about it because really, really good stuff. What I picked up was this Hornady Cowboy seating die. Now this is for the 45 Colt, but I'm hoping that it's going to work for the 454 Casull. I've got a couple of different dies. I really like that Redding Pro seating die. Works good 454. It works good for both. But I wanted to be sure that I was going to be able to get a good roll crimp. This is a die I've been using since forever. I mean, since the 70s. This is a steel Lyman die set in 45 Colt. Now I took this and I modified this cedar stem, and I got a video on this. I drilled it to make room for places for this epoxy to go. And this is high temperature, high compression epoxy. High pressure sensitive, high pressure level epoxy. And I put it in there and I made it somewhat flush, and then I filed it to be dead flush. So now this is a cedar stem, is more like a cedar plug, but it's really, really good for these big flat, me-plat bullets. You don't grip the sides, you don't mar your bullet up at all because you're pushing dead flat on the tip of the bullet. And it was nothing more than drilling a couple of holes for the epoxy to get in so it doesn't just jump out. If it's just a tapered hole like used to be there, the epoxy could jump out. So you rough up the surface and you drill a couple of holes, and it allows the epoxy to get into those holes, and it gives it a grab so it doesn't pop out with your first heavy seating. And then this one has a really good crimp in it. So this die has been really good. And I take the plug right out of it. I set it down and I screw it down. I've been using these parallel smooth jaw pliers. And they're adjustable with this button. I don't want to change it because that's my adjustment, but I'll pull out my smaller pair. I think these are 7 and 10 inch. And these are the no name. These are the Work Pros. And they're fine. They're beautiful. You just push the button and you can adjust this. And you set it where you want. It locks in. It's got a spring on the back for the pin. And it locks in, but it keeps the jaws. They're not parallel jaws, but they're somewhat parallel. And they're really nice for all the stuff we do on the bench when you don't want to mar something up, but you want to be able to grab it and move it and adjust it and like nuts and things. So it gives you no teeth to mar. If you need teeth, these are really good. These are the angled jaw. These are Irwin's vice grip tool, but these work similarly. You got a button you push, and then you can adjust these for the jaw. And these are pretty nice. Like I use these on the barrel here to get a good grip without marring it, because I knew I was going to grab it good enough that it wouldn't spin, so that I could get the wrench on this flat to unscrew this, to show you guys how this worked. So a couple of more tools to show you. We got the data there to show you a couple of things that work really good for me. So let's pop this open real quick. We're at 14 minutes. I didn't really want to make such a long video, but let's pop this open. We're not going to have time to do any seating, but let's take a look and see what Hornady gives us. Wow, this thing is in there. Well, they give us a wrench. That's nice. They give us a wrench. It looks like we got 2 cedar plugs. That's nice. Now, Walter did a video on this, and I'm going to put a link in the description to Walter's video. I just posted it to my community tab, so it's there for all of us to find. I'm not going to keep it in here, but I like that. That's an anti-rust chip, so leave them in there. My instructions probably won't need, but let's keep as much airflow off that as we can. And Walter does a pretty good video on this. Now, my problem with a lot of these Hornady dies is the retention of this. Let me get back in the view. Sorry, I bumped the camera here. I gotta press right beside you here. You know, right over here, right over there. And you can't see it, but it's in my way from my hands. So it looks like we've got a couple of seating. So we can adjust that with an O-ring to stop it. And it looks like we can adjust down here as well. So I don't really know everything we got going on here other than what I've seen in Walter's video already. So it looks like, okay, so I see what's going on. This is going to be our adjustment for overall length for our seating depth. And this is going to be the change that we can give it for seating. And this gives you a nice flat, for a flat me plat, just like I made. That's dynamite. And it gives you a tapered one. It looks like it'll work for pointy bullets, which is really nice too. I'm liking that. All right, so far it's a win. Walter led us in the right direction. Let's see if we can see how this pin is retained. Okay, I like that. Okay, they used to use a wire clip. They drilled a hole in here. Let me zoom in just a little bit. They used to drill a hole in here in the new dimension dies, and then they had a wire clip that went in that hole and then wrapped around the die, and that held it on with a little bitty tit, pardon my French, of wire. And that kept this from falling out. So now they've got a steel rib, so that fits in there really nice. So no more. What would happen with that old style, if you had a bullet that was bigger, it would get grabbed by this. And then when you put your ram down to take your bullet out, this would get pulled so hard and the bullet would stick to this so strongly that it would rip it right out of the case and destroy that steel pin, that little steel clip, wire clip. And you had to spend wicked money on these things to get them, and not everybody stocked them. It was hard to get extra ones. I don't think I have but a couple. So I pretty much just stopped using Hornady dies because of that. But this is not that. This is my big concern, and there's no concern. Beautiful. So I can use the flat point like I like. Just drop that in there. Drop this whole thing back in here. This is adjustable for your crimp. And this is adjustable for your seat. So you can back this off and set your crimp and then adjust this for your press. So this is your seating depth. This will be your crimp. So there should be enough adjustment here for 454. So let me see what I can do off screen. I like that a lot. Your crimp is going to be in this. This is going to do your crimping. So that sleeve is going to be really nice for straight parallel seating, no cropping, no canting of your bullet. That, along with the M die that I use, is going to make a big difference. Now this is not the bullet we're going to be using, but you can see here with the M die, it allows you to put that bullet in there. Now look how far it goes in. It just goes in just a little bit. See it? Just a little bit. But it goes in straight and true. See that? Look at that. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's wicked straight compared to just no flare at all. And that is really, really nice on cast bullets because it doesn't scrape the lead. It seats it in there just really nice. And that's what Alignment M die does. So instead of using, this is ready to reload. Instead of using a off-the-shelf 3-die set, I'm doing what Walter's told us for years. Build your own set. Buy a sizer die you like. Buy a cedar die you like. And use a flaring die. Most of the companies make good ones now, and they're all pretty much copies of the Lyman M die. The good ones are pretty much a copy of the Lyman M die. NOE offered one for the Lee dies. Lee offers one now in their new cedar stems. Reddings are really good now. Lyman Cowboys are really good now. And they're all copies or really, really similar to the Lyman M die, which has been available forever. Forever. Lyman M die here's one right here. You buy them by diameter of the bullet that you want to use. And there's a couple of different die lengths for the different lengths of the cases. There's a couple of different stem lengths And on the inside here is your little spud that goes inside to do the work. And they're different lengths. So combine that in all these different pieces, and you can make up a die for doing multiple calibers, multiple cartridges of the same caliber. As long as they're, in this case, 45. I could do everything from 45 auto with different lengths. Now, 45 auto is short, short, short. Up to 450 Bushmaster, which is wicked long compared to these. And all I need to be able to change is my stem length, and I can adjust that with the length of the stem or the length of the die. So different lengths dies, and it's just a great system. I've got a video on that as well, and there's another couple of videos other people have done on the dies that are great. So there we go. Just a quick 20 minutes. I'm 20 minutes, 21 minutes in, but this looks like a winner. As long as it's going to be able to adjust for 454 Casull, and it really looks like it is. It looks like I've got plenty of adjustment there. So off camera now, I'm going to shut this off and let you guys get back to your regularly scheduled whatever you're doing. And I'm going to load some 454s. God bless everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it. I never ask, but give me a thumbs up, give me a sub, give me a follow. I love it. Tell your friends about it. If this can help somebody, that's really what I do it for. I'm not after the dollars and cents. I'm just after spreading the love, spreading the word, and helping people out. If you have any questions, get a hold of me. Leave me comments. I answer all the comments, and I'll do what I can to help you. God bless everybody. CW out.